first off, I just want to say what a privilege it is to be here and have an opportunity just to say a few words. And a lot of this stuff that I'm going to say is stuff that you already know because you live it and you see it every day. But I want to tell you that what you have here is incredibly special. Unbelievably special. The organization that has been created, the volunteers that come out to do it, the level of profits that you've made, the tangible results of those profits. There's a whole lot of organizations across the country that try to replicate this kind of organization, and they haven't. What you have created is so special, and I just honestly, I don't have the words to explain how impressed I am with this event. And so thank you for that. Thank you for this opportunity. A couple of years back, I was playing at a golf tournament at the Naval Postgraduate School in Monterey, California. And at this tournament, the guest speaker that evening was the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the senior military officer in the United States, the president's senior military advisor. So I was warming up on the driving range, and the admiral comes up behind me, starts hitting some golf balls. So I thought, wow, this is a unique opportunity for me to meet the chairman. So I turned around and I introduced myself. I said, Mr. Chair, I said, Admiral, it's great to meet you. My name is Ken Dwyer. I'm a student out here at NPS. And so he asked me about my hand, and I told him I lost that, 6 years ago in Afghanistan, but it's good now. And so we talked for a couple of minutes, and I went back to hitting balls on the driving range. And I just happened to, and the guys who played with me today, I know you're not going to believe this, but I just happened to hit 3 beautiful shots in a row. Absolutely, I had a 3-wood in my hand and I crushed 3 shots, right, long and straight. And so the Admiral, he's kind of a smaller statured man, he comes up behind me and he puts his hand on my shoulder and he says, wow, that's really impressive. Has your handicap improved since you've been in Monterey? and I looked at the Admiral and I said, no sir, my hand's still missing. Which I thought was the wittiest thing I had ever said in my life. It would normally be 3 days later and I'm in the shower and I think, man, I should have said this to the Admiral, it would have been hilarious, but came up with it right on the spot. Well, I think I caught the Admiral off guard and he looked at me and I went from being Ken to being Major real quick. And he looked at me and he said, Major, that's not what I meant. So I started to backpedal a little bit. I said, oh, yes, sir, I understand that. I was just making a joke. You understand, the Admiral had hit like 2 balls at this point on the range. And he looked at me and he goes, oh. And he turned around and left the driving range. So I do sometimes say things that I probably shouldn't. But I think that's okay, because you got to have a sense of humor in life. That's right. Yeah. So the wounded heroes in this room, and honestly everybody in this room, because there's so much military blood in this room, and guys who have served, and families and spouses who have served, you understand that the most important skill that anyone has in life is the ability to fight through adversity. The ability to suffer through hardships. The ability to see the silver lining, and the ability to get to the other side. And there's a great scene, and I show it to my kids all the time, and they're probably looking at me and go, oh, Dad, I can't believe you're going to talk about this. In one of the latter Rocky movies, where he's talking to his son, and his son has grown up, and he's talking to his son, and he said, I'm going to tell you something that you already know. Life is not all sunshine and rainbows. And then he goes on to talk about how hard life is and how it will beat you to your knees and keep you there if you let it. And then maybe my favorite movie line on the face of the planet, he says, but it's not about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. And so the wounded heroes in this room have proven to us, not only at this event, but in the way that they lead their lives every day, that they have the ability to fight through that adversity and to be that example of that guy who never quits and continues to fight, and he shows up and he puts everything he has into everything he does. And so I started to think a little bit about what conditions need to exist for somebody to display that kind of resilient behavior. And I made a list, and it's very short because if it's more than 3 items, I can't remember it. So I made a list of 3 items that I believe must exist in order to display that kind of resiliency. And number 1 is you have to surround yourself with positive people. And then that's where I come back to all of you and what you have done and what you have created, because you are the kind of positive people that our veterans and our wounded service members need to be surrounded by so that they can be resilient. And I thank you so much for being those people, for sacrificing your time and sacrificing your resources and being here to honestly, the most important thing, sacrificing your friendship, to be there for them, to be that friend for them to lean on, to be that positive person. And just really quick, I'll talk to my family, which they're here, and I'm so grateful for that. And I just have to tell this story, because if I don't tell this story, my son, I'm sure, is sick of hearing this when I talk about things that have motivated me in my life. When I got hurt 11 years ago, my son was 3 years old. And the first time that they brought him into the hospital, of course my left hand was gone, and I had holes through my face and my neck. My left eye is fake, so hopefully nobody over here is making faces at me because I can't see them. And my right arm had been cut open from the bottom all the way to the top, and when they brought him in, I just started talking again because they removed the trach and the vent and everything, and I could just whisper a little bit. But they had just stitched my arm up from my elbow all the way to my chest. And it was a freshly stitched wound, and it was still oozing, and I don't mean to be gross, but I want to convey the image, right, and how powerful of a moment this was. And they bring my 3-year-old son into the hospital room, and they lift him up onto the bed, and then the first question he asked me, he says, "Daddy, where are your teeth?" Because they had told him about the rest, but they didn't tell him my teeth got knocked out. So I said, "Hey son, they're gonna, I got hurt, my teeth are gone, they're gonna give me some new teeth." So he said, "Are they gonna be white teeth?" I don't know, so maybe I get some gold teeth or some silver teeth, I don't know, but we'll see. Hopefully they match what I've got in there now. And so that was it for his questions, and then he looked at me with the innocence of only what a 3-year-old child can do, and he leans over to my arm, which is suspended into the air, and he gives me the biggest kiss in the world right on the middle of that nasty oozing stitch line. And he looks at me and goes, "It's all better now, Daddy. Let's play baseball." And so I share that story, and I embarrass myself. I mostly share that story just to embarrass my son. But to talk about the positive people that I've had around me that have allowed me to continue to stay in the military, 11 years post-injury, post-amputation, to continue to stay with Special Forces, to take command of a unit, Special Forces Unit 3rd Group, and go back to Afghanistan in 2012, to continue to stay on airborne status, fight the Army, and say, "Hey, let me jump out of airplanes, I can do it." And it's because of those positive people around me. So that's number 1, surround yourself with positive people. Number 2 is find your purpose and live it every day. So I did some soul searching a while back. I said, well, what's my purpose? Why am I here? And what I came back to again and again was, I'm here to try to enhance the lives of the people that I love. And I don't always do the perfect job, but I do the best I can. And I'm very fortunate, to have the people around me that, and my family. When I go back to the people I love, I talk about my family, but also my soldiers. I stayed in the Army, certainly not because I was going to make more money or because I was going to, all these things. I stayed in the Army because I love my soldiers, and I'll do anything to enhance their lives. And when I say enhance their lives, I certainly don't mean give them everything, just like I tell my kids. My job is not to give you everything and make your lives easy. That's what I tell my soldiers too. I'm not here to give you everything and make your lives easy. I'm here to make your lives just hard enough so that you're prepared. That you're prepared, not for an easy life, but you're prepared to live a hard life, because it is, it's hard. So number one, surround yourself with positive people. Number two, find your purpose. And number three, and this may be the most important one, because I believe you cannot be a resilient person. You cannot fight your way through hardship if you don't have a sense of humor. So have a sense of humor and have fun with life and never take yourself too seriously. And I tell people all the time, I take my job seriously, and I take the mission seriously, but I don't ever take myself too seriously. And I encourage people not to do that, because it's hard to get through life if you can't turn around every now and then and have a good laugh. And once again, that takes me back to this organization and what we've done. And every single person that I've engaged with throughout the entire day has a genuine sense of caring. And you can tell it's not made up. They really care. And everybody has been so awesome and had such we had a good time out there. We probably told some inappropriate stories and other things, but it was great. And so I just appreciate so much the opportunity to be here. Mr. Spicer, you have done tremendous things, and a special thanks to Sal. Sal, thanks, man. Tremendous work. And then to Rod, who had to put up with me all day. I mean, I feel for you. I can't even put up with myself for 6 straight hours. I don't know how you did it. And then to all the volunteers and to all the other golfers, but to mostly to the rest of my brothers and sisters out there who have proven and set the example for fighting through adversity. And to be that shining light on the hill to show everybody that the only true disability in life is losing the will to fight, losing the intestinal fortitude to continue to push through and continue to drive and continue to be the best that you can be. Everything else can be overcome. And I look out at some of my brothers and sisters in the audience, and I know that they have pushed through some tremendously difficult things. And it inspires me every day when I see them. So thank you so much. Thank you for this opportunity to speak, and thank you for the invitation. And hopefully I get a chance to maybe come back next year.
Absolutely.
But thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it.